They have to become a believer as a scientist.
Well, that's what I came here to do, show you it was true.
Yeah, you're going to force me to believe it, aren't you?
I am. Direct hit number 2. And the world will believe me one day.
What if your dreams could predict the future? What if your subconscious held the keys to solving crimes, preventing disasters, and unlocking mysteries science can't explain? Meet Chris Robinson, the Premonition Man, a dream detective whose vision have not only assisted UK police and intelligence agencies, but have also been rigorously tested by science. And if you guys been following my channel, I've interviewed him back over a year ago, where he's predicted murders, terrorist attacks, and how he's been tested by professors and scientists. And today's video is part 2, where he has some more fascinating stories, specifically talking about UFOs and extraterrestrials. If you guys remember, his abilities were so fascinating that scientist Gary E. Schwartz put him to the ultimate test in the Arizona experiment, taking him to unknown locations, forcing him to dream of his destinations in advance, and the results unbelievable. Chris has left the scientists and professors stunned. And there was even a book written by scientist Gary after this experiment called The God Experiment. If you guys have not seen the original interview I did with Chris, I will put the card up here. You have to go watch it because that video focuses on exactly how he does the dream predictions and how it works, and exactly who might be the one that is giving him these answers and prophecies. Is it God? Is it extraterrestrials? Is it his past ancestors? It seems like from his answers, it's a mix of everything. I wanted to bring him back on my channel because there was a new book written about Chris, specifically about his UFO encounters. There has been a lot of talks in the skies recently about unidentified flying objects. So are we truly alone in the universe? And what message do these otherworldly beings have for us? Chris allegedly has these answers where the extraterrestrials come and talk to him and even healed his body. I know it's crazy and I know what you're thinking about. You better watch this video till the end before you write down any judgments, okay? Promise me that.
How have you been? It's been a year since I've talked to you.
I know, it must be. I was trying to think, how long ago was it?
And even people I interview now, they're like, I watched your interview with Chris Robinson. It was fascinating. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it was. It's brilliant. I loved it. What have I been doing? I've still been looking after my granddaughter, who recovered from cancer. Because she recovered, I went to the doctors to sort out my problem, which I knew was there. Because at the same time, I was told in the dream that she was going to get cancer. I was told so was I.
Whoa.
It was a question of, do I go and sort out my problem or do we look after her? And I was told that look after her first. So the moment we got the complete all clear from her, the end of August, I had to have an annual test for check if I've got diabetes yet, which I haven't. But they do a yearly blood test. And I said to the nurse doing it, I said, can you add a PSA test to that, which is a prostate cancer test? And she said, I don't know whether we can. So she went away and asked the doctor, and he said, for him, anything. So it came back positive, but I knew it would.
Wow.
I knew it would. And so I've had an MRI, I've had a biopsy, I've had a bone scan, and I'm on some hormone treatment. And then I've got radiotherapy in February, and then it should all be over by July.
You already know.
I already know.
That's crazy.
It's really funny because when I got to the hospital after the positive test, I was talking to the doctor and he said, why did you get a test? Because you've got no symptoms. There's, you're not showing. I said, no. And I said, well, and I told him, I said, well, my granddaughter got cancer 3 years ago and I was told that I was going to get it as well, but to look after her first. So I've looked after her first, and now I'm looking after me. And he said, well, who told you that? I said, my grandmother. He said, your grandmother? He said, how on earth old is your grandmother? And I said, oh no, she died in 1986. You should have seen his face. It was priceless. Anyway, yeah, so I'm not worried about it.
So what do you think is the point of the spirits telling you the exact timing of how it's going to play out? Like, does it help that you know? Or if you don't know, do you learn any lessons?
Right. So with my granddaughter, if we hadn't known, she'd be dead now. So if I hadn't had the message, that she was going to get cancer. As a family, as her grandfather, I wouldn't have been looking for it. And if I hadn't acted on my one now, as the doctor said to me, he said, how long do you think you've had this then? I said, probably about 3 years. He said, I would probably agree with that. And you are just in time before it spreads.
Wow.
So again, priceless information. You couldn't buy that kind of warning, could you?
That also goes into the question of that means that there's multiple timelines. If you didn't know you were going to pass, like, how does that work?
Do you know, it's something that I don't know the answer to that.
Oh.
I've thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. I mean, if we go back to when my girlfriend died, I had a dream from her then saying, if you're going to go into the attic, you're going to fall. And if you fall, you mustn't go to hospital. And of course, I went up there. I know I'm not going to fall, am I? Of course not. I know now. I'm going to be so careful. And what happened? When I was coming down, after we brought all the Christmas decorations down, and this was 2008, all the decorations down. But what had we done? At the bottom of the ladder, there's a metal bed frame and a bed. So what we did is we piled pillows up all around it in case I fell. But I'm not going to fall because I know I'm going to fall. What happened? The rung on the ladder snapped.
Wow.
And down I came. But the pillows were there and I didn't smash my head on a solid metal bed frame. I did get knocked out. I did go unconscious for a few minutes. But again, that message from them saved my life.
Wow. So you have the power to change the future, or was that meant to be for you to know and be okay?
I think it was meant for me to be okay. Because honestly, if I hadn't have done all those things, I wouldn't be here. I mean, I am so grateful to my alien friends and my spirit friends. Now, coming on to that, I think there's a connection between the two things. I mean, I don't know for sure, of course, but I think there is a connection between us on this planet and coming from another universe to here. Because there seems to be no real explanation what happened between monkeys and intelligent human beings. And I'm not an anthropologist. I mean, I'm not a specialist in this. But what I am is somebody who experiences the alien beings. You know, I mean, if they hadn't operated on me, what would have happened when they took me up to their ship and did an operation? UFOs, or UAPs as they now call them, are getting more and more commonly sighted. I mean, even the American government have started to say, we're not saying they're aliens, but there are things up there that we don't know what they are. I mean, I know they come from somewhere else because they've communicated with me and I've seen them. Did you see the video link to the one I saw in 1971? Just take that one instance. Now, Malcolm and me are standing on top of a chimney pot on a roof. We're putting up an antenna. For some reason, I look in the sky and I see this ball flying across the sky. As fast as I turn my head, it stopped. So it was that fast. I thought, what's that? And it just went across the sky and it just stopped. It just stood there. And I thought, wow. I said, Malcolm, what on earth is that? We're just standing there looking at it and we were kind of frozen watching this thing. And it was now way over there. In 1971, I don't believe we had any aircraft that could fly 80 miles in 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and stop. Hang about there for a minute or two, and come back the other way. I don't even think we've still got an aircraft that can do that. Let's say 80 miles in, let's say 4 seconds. It's like 70,000 miles an hour. I mean, you know. Crazy. We thought it was spinning, spiraling. Now, if you look at the trail it leaves, you can actually see a spiral in it. What aircraft have we got that spins?
Nothing I can think of.
Nothing that I know of. And we're talking about over 50 years ago. I mean, it just says to me we ain't alone, you know. And when I see an alien talk to me in a dream, you know, they're talking to me in a dream and take me to places in a dream. Why would I not believe it?
Do you think that those crafts and the ones you've seen and the ones now are all related or different beings?
Based on what I've been told by the extraterrestrial being, and this was during the Arizona experiment, when we set out to try and prove to science you can get you can see the future. Or somebody can and tell you and show you what the future is. So we did that experiment at that university in 2001.
You're quite excited, aren't you, that I could get it right again?
I'm so excited.
And for my...
I may have to become a believer. I may have to become a believer as a scientist.
Well, that's what I came here to do, show you it was true.
Yeah, you're going to force me to believe it, aren't you?
I am. Direct hit, number 2. And the world will believe me one day.
The Arizona experiment is with scientist and Professor Gary E. Schwartz. And he was fascinated and really wanted to check, literally prove himself wrong, that this was impossible. But also at the same time wanted to see if what Chris was capable of was real or not. So the scientist flew Gary out to the United States. They went to Arizona and he asked Chris to dream about the places that he was going to take him to. And Chris says that on some of these places he dreamt of 3 months before. Like months before even the scientist knew where he was going to take Chris to for this experiment. So the scientist didn't even know where he was going to take Chris to, but it seems like Chris had the ability to dream about this whole thing before it even happened. If you guys want to watch the experiment, it is all filmed. Again, I will leave the link down in the description box if you want to go check it for yourself. And Chris was able to prove himself, and this was all true and written and documented in video and even in a book that the scientist Mr. Gary wrote called The God Experiments.
An alien being who says to refer to him or her as the Grand Master of this section of the universe.
I remember that.
And that's where my COVID warning came from. That's where my 9/11 warning came from. That series of experiments is on the internet as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it was impossible to do what we did unless there was an intelligence working with us, the professor at the university and I, to know where you're going to be. Defining characteristics of 10 locations 3 months before they even decide where they're going to take you. It's phenomenal. Why isn't it on the front page of Time magazine instead of Trump? Because honestly, it's the most incredible evidence for the paranormal and extraterrestrial beings that exists today on the planet that I know of. I mean, all right, the meteorite that hit my car when just before my granddaughter was born, I told you that story, I think. You go outside because an alien has told you your granddaughter is going to be born tomorrow morning and nothing's happened yet, you know? So I go out in the street and I look up, I said, send me a sign, she's still coming. And a micrometeorite hits your car. I mean, you know, they want to talk about them and get on TV, but anything that they can't explain, they run away from. You know?
Well, do you know the answer? Did
Well,
your aliens tell you?
They say to me that ego gets in the way. If they don't earn something out of the sighting themselves, they don't want to talk about someone else's sighting.
But what did your aliens download tell you about who they are, what these spacecrafts are?
So what they tell me is that they are part of the Galactic Federation. Their interest in Earth is only do 2 things: stop us destroying it with some Putin nuclear war or whatever, you know, craziness. They don't want the planet destroyed, but they also don't want us taking our madness off the planet and corrupting the universe. They don't want it, and they've said they won't let it happen. I probably won't be alive to see that as a living person. I'll probably be somewhere up there watching them out there. But can you imagine, you know, us going into space, 4 different countries, let's say 4 different religions going up there, starting religious wars on Mars or in some other wonderful planet that we found. Different people with different beliefs who want to kill one another and fight one another and can't get on with one another. Can you imagine taking that kind of barbarism into space with highly intelligent beings? Of course, they don't want us to get off this planet and corrupt out there.
In the last year or 2, even in the last couple months, there was so many news about UFOs. Why do you think they're all of a sudden showing themselves to us now? What's the purpose?
I've been asking them to do that for a long time because I believe the only way we're going to stop the nonsense infighting over beliefs and religions is for us to know the truth. Was there a God? Is there a God? What's the truth about all of that? I've had conversations with them And I've said to him, the only way we're going to get at the truth, because if you're a very religious Christian, it doesn't matter what anybody says, you're not going to believe Jesus was born from a virgin. If you're a Muslim, you're never going to believe anything other than Muhammad flew round the moon and broke it in half. Buddhists believe something else. Some other religion believes something else. All it's done over the centuries is cause wars. I mean, look at what's going on in the Middle East now. The slaughter that is happening because these people have been taught for hundreds of years, 1,400 years, that they must hate those people. And those people don't want to be hated and they don't want to be wiped out. So they're fighting back. Men do the fighting, women and children are the victims, the innocent victims. It's sad because some crazy people believe that it's our responsibility because somebody said 1,500, 1,400 years ago that we mustn't trust these people and we before the last day, we've got to kill them all. The alien beings said to me, it's wrong. Why are they doing that? I don't think they understand the problem, or they didn't do. And I've tried to say to them, look, these people believe this and have been taught this. These people believe that and that they've been taught that. This other people have been taught that. And some religions have got so many different divisions in them where they can't even agree amongst themselves because you're this type of person in that religion and another type of, if like sect, or I don't know the right word to use, but they're little compartments of the same umbrella religion. This fighting's been going on for thousands of years. Isn't it time it stopped? And of course, that's what I've been talking to the aliens about, and they agree. But I think they really find it difficult as intelligent beings with no ego, with no nonsense. My feeling is they don't have any nonsense. They know everything. They know how the universe was formed. They can travel in time. They can travel at phenomenal speeds. And they've come across this very primitive planet, which is a beautiful planet. Just look at the wonderful, beautiful scenery, flowers and biological life from microbes to elephants. What do we do with elephants? We kill them because we want the bit of ivory that sticks out their nose. Aren't we barbarians?
Yeah.
Not all of us, because we don't all do those things. But they're not looking at all of us. They're only looking at the bad stuff that they see from out in space somewhere. They don't know all the nice people, but I think they're getting to know the nice people because the nice people are getting visited by them. How many people now have been able to tell you a story that, they got a visit from an alien came in the night. Some people say they were taken away and operated on and subjected to experimentation. I don't know whether they subjected me to experimentation, but they fixed a hole in my diaphragm. They did that for me. They fixed my heart.
Now here, what he is talking about is his encounters with aliens where they do surgery on him, but it was in more of a dream form. So it seems like the aliens, the extraterrestrial, the higher beings are able to take us only in our consciousness, yet the consciousness and our spiritual body is somehow also related to our 3D reality. Especially in this encounter, he had a hard time with his heart and he prayed, or he asked the aliens to please come fix him, and he remembers being literally having surgery by the extraterrestrials. He woke up and he never had this problem ever again. Again, go watch the part 1 if you do want to dive into exactly what he's talking about.
When I had all the heart problems, when I was back up there in 1980, 88 or 9, back in a spaceship, I had terrible heart pains. Cardiologist said there's not really much we can do. Suddenly I'm back up there and all the pains stopped after that dream.
But if they are so intelligent, wouldn't they know our future already? Why do they have to come and stop us if they know our future?
I think if they know our future already, that's why they're coming, because they're trying to stop it.
Okay, so they're trying to change the future technically.
I think so. I think they know what happens if there is no intervention. From my point of view, I haven't seen a nuclear war yet.
Wow. So do you talk to all different species of aliens, or are they kind of like one?
I don't know how to truthfully answer that. I feel that originally I was talking to, maybe they were their robots, I don't know. But when I'm talking in 2001, when I'm being warned of 9/11 and I'm doing the experiment, the time travel experiment, they said to me, we're going to send fires and floods to the earth if you don't listen. Not me personally. Earth people don't listen, the world will be destroyed ab initio, as if it never was. And they will do it to stop us going out into space and destroying whatever wonderful planets we find. I mean, there's nothing on Mars to destroy. Some people think that there's already been a nuclear war there, with a civilization long ago. So if these beings, I've asked them where they come from the Canis Major system.
Where is that?
There is a constellation called Canis Major. I don't know much about it, but that's what they said. Because I said, where do you come from? They said, we originate from the Canis Major, what we know as the Canis Major system.
What do they look like?
I've only ever really seen the faces, because most of the time I've either seen some fleeting image, which is almost impossible to there and gone past like a ghost, or I've seen the faces in a dream. And the ones that I've seen look pretty much like the ones that people draw and call the grey aliens. They've got eyes, they've got little mouths. It's difficult for me to try and when I'm laying on that operating table, what do I see? Well, I see faces all around me, so I couldn't tell you what the feet are like. I've never had one stand in front of me so that I could describe. If I could, I would. I'd tell you, but I can't. And most of the time it's in this kind of dream-like vision. But when you come back, you don't remember everything. The ones that I've seen, they're almost, I call them light beings, because it's almost as if you can see through them.
Wow.
It's not some big solid form there in front of me. It's like like a smoky image, even if they're one species, which something in me says that they're probably not. They come together as a federation to protect, this section of the universe. It means to me, if they say that, the ones that are coming here, then there must be other ones protecting other parts of the universe or galaxies.
Are they the one giving you the premonition dream, or was that your spirits, or mixed?
Well, this is where I'm not sure, because it's never constant. There have been definite dreams where I have not been aware a dead person has been anything to do with it. So the dream and the information given doesn't connect in my dream to somebody who, like my grandmother or my girlfriend who died, or my father or my wife's father, all the people I know that have died. But it seems to me as if they know each other. And I can't get away in my mind from the connection that I feel that once we die, we can then be with them. We can be communicating with them. They can be communicating with, us when we're on the other side. Because 2019 is when I had the dream about coronavirus, COVID, killing everybody on the planet. Now in that dream, it was my grandmother. I told you, we were in the cupboard under her stairs. She got a bottle of Corona. She flipped it open. It sprayed everywhere. And she said, Corona is going to spread everywhere and kill millions of people. That happened 6 months probably afterwards. We knew what it was. Dreams for the Arizona experiments were 3 months, 2 months, 1 month in advance of the experiments. But they hadn't even planned them yet. How is it possible to know all that? Go figure, because we did. The God Experiment book was written by the professor. I mean, I've got a book here with some of my very early dreams in it.
So this is also kind of similar to the Arizona experiment. He did another experiment of his dream abilities in a TV show. And I'm not sure if this host is a scientist or professor, but they did the same type of experiment, I believe going to 3 or 4 places. And Chris was able to get some right and some not approved, a hit by the host. Now, one of the misses that he got was the ice bar room. Chris wrote in his notes that he's going to see something white, that he was going to be covered in white. And when the experiment time came, they actually took him to an ice room. Now, according to this host, he says that, well, ice isn't white, it's clear. So he stamped it as miss. And Chris is going to dive into why he thinks about some experiments that he doesn't pass and he doesn't get right.
Yeah, where I had to dream where they were taking me.
They said that you didn't get some of them right. Why do you think
Well,
that was?
I think I didn't get one of them right. But you see, the dream about the ice bar, first of all, I don't believe you can get everything right ever. So there were three things. There was an ice bar. Now, my dream was I am surrounded by white. And I think I said it's like being wrapped up in a white sheet. What did they dress me in?
Something white?
They dressed me in a silver insulating suit with a white sheepskin lining, because we're going into a fridge. We're going to be in there an hour or two, but all the people go to the ice bar, have this same thing on. But you see, to me, ice is white. He said, no, ice is not white. Ice is translucent. Anybody you can put the link up to that program.
Yeah.
Anybody can watch those experiments and see what they think. The one with sitting on a donkey, I had no idea what that was. I didn't have any idea. But I'm not very good at getting dreams with animals. I'm not very good at that. The one where I even got dressed up with a shirt and a tie because I'm going to be surrounded by dead people.
I saw that one.
Where was I? I was surrounded by dead people. Hundreds of dead people. Now, what is the chances of doing a blindfold experiment? We're going to take you somewhere where you don't know where you're going, and you say, I'm going to be surrounded by dead people. And I was so trying to honor the dead people that I didn't wear my regular clothes. I put a nice jacket, new shoes, trousers. I dressed up as if I was going to church because I knew that I was going to be somewhere where it was important that I showed respect.
Any recent encounters with your dreams or with the aliens that you talked to?
The other morning, just after 6 o'clock in the morning, I do this every morning. I get up and I move my wife's car out into the road and warm it up. She goes to work at 6:30, and she's making her breakfast, and I move the car off the drive and get it ready for her to go to work. So I just warm it up for 5 minutes. I was coming back into the house. Just as I got towards my front door, I thought, I wonder if they're about. And it was a beautiful sort of morning, still pitch dark like it is outside now. And I just looked up and I said, if you're still there, give me a sign. And within seconds, a white ball went across the back of my house along the tree line up, which is up here. And it was there for about 3 or 4 seconds. It just slowly, bright white light went off as quick as it came. And I looked at them and I said, thank you guys. But I see them quite often. Usually when I ask them if they're still there. There's a man in America called Chris Bledsoe who wrote a book called The UFO of God. He can go out into his yard and ask them to come. And he's not imagining it any more than I am. It's funny that we're both Chris's. Yeah.
Something about Chris.
Something about Chris.
I know you have the new book on UFOs specifically, and I would love to encourage people to read it. Why did you write about it, and what can we expect in the book?
2019. I was at a conference and these two people at the conference who were writers approached me and they said, can we write a book about you? And I said, if you want to, my life is an open book. There are secrets that I've never told anyone because I'm either not supposed to, or it would be dangerous to, or, perhaps it would be too far out that people wouldn't believe it. I said, sure. So they took my other book, the Dream Detective book, and they brought it up to date. They said to me, what was my next wish to do? And I said, well, I've never really said about the alien story. For 50 odd years, I couldn't prove that I saw that thing. When I tracked down the film, it was now 50 years. I was with Malcolm. This is where we were, what we were doing. And here's the film of it. Here's the video of it. So that gave me the confidence, only that recently, really, to talk about UFOs. They know they came to me for a reason. They must have found me somehow.
They didn't ever talk to you, those aliens, and be like, hey, Chris, we're here.
I think they probably did. I've had so many dreams where I've talked to them and I've seen them in the dreams. There's been so many I don't even write them down. Very often I'll go asleep and I'm with them and we're going somewhere in space. We're the ones during the Arizona experiments, because we're now doing an experiment at a university being watched by intelligence organizations, from Britain and from the United States. They are watching what we're doing. This experiment was designed to prove that I was telling the truth. I knew somehow what was going to happen because they got a history of me warning about things that later happened. But we tried to take a picture of the alien, and I sent you the picture of the little red being hanging on a pole. We went to one of the places that we went to in the experiment, and we asked if the alien would appear in a picture. We were just following the dream. So we were inside of a telescope, and we are asking for the aliens to show us something. We took 2 pictures, and one of them didn't have anything, and one of them has this kind of being holding on to a pole. I can send you it. I think the reason that they're showing up now is we're getting to the tipping point on this planet where we're either going to destroy it or they're going to destroy it.
Have you seen anything in your future dreams about a prediction?
Not yet. I haven't seen a nuclear war yet. Now, does it happen after I die? I wouldn't see it. You know, I'm already 74. You know, if I'm going to live to 80, I'm going to be here another 6 years, say. If it happens in 10 years' time, I won't be alive to see it. Does that stop me being able to see it? So many unknown questions, but there's so much stuff that we could be examining properly that we're not doing. Since your program and the lots of other interviews that I've done, is there is a website called asktheanswer.com. It's kind of a psychic website. Lots of people have wanted to talk to me, and it's impossible to manage that. So what I've done is I've joined that website, and usually 2 or 3 hours every day, I'll log into that website if people want to talk to me. They have to pay. It's not free, you know, but I've got to get something for my time, and somebody's got to pay for the system that I'm on to talk to.
Can you even do personal questions? Can you ask for somebody else? Is that even?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing since I've been on there. You can't. What you can't do in advance is guarantee you're going to get an answer.
Well, maybe personal stuff. Like if I ask you, "Hey, this situation, can you look into it?" Like
that's what all I can say is I will try. I will see.
Wow.
And I have been able to do that for some people. What I've discovered doing this is a lot of people don't realise that what we do in a situation affects what happens. A lot of people think that you can just, well, you know, is this going to happen to me? Well, it's a bit like my granddaughter. She was going to get cancer, but we did the right things to save her, you know. And I've got prostate cancer. I knew I had it, but I did the right thing, hopefully. I mean, the doctor thinks that, you know, they can cure it because it hasn't spread. He said, but you're lucky because, you know, another month or 2 might have been too late. You know, if I hadn't taken the action of having the blood test and then getting the MRI and all, you know, going through the diagnostic procedure, then it would have killed me in a year or 2. It would have done. But I took the right action. Now, a lot of people don't realise you've got to take action to get what you want. I mean, but the amount of people that I've met and talked to that don't think, you know, they need to have a part in it. Oh, you do. You need to do the right things to get to where you want to go. So
could you give answers to that to people? Hey, my dream said do A, B, C, D.
Well, yes, I've done that. But I also have had a lot of fun and very interesting where I've asked the people that I've met, okay, so you write this question for your dreams and then call me back when you've had the dreams. And they've got the answer themselves. I've explained it to them what it means.
Wow.
I love that. There's a lady that I'm going to talk to in about 3 hours' time. She had this impossible situation. I said, well, I can't help with that. I said, but, you know, just spend a week, you know, writing down a question for your dreams to tell you what you need to do to resolve it. Because the first time she got some amazing dreams that she didn't understand at all. She had no clue what they meant. But to me, they did. I understood it, you know, and I explained it to her. And she said, oh, wow, yeah, I would never have thought of that. So she's gone off to do certain things, and I'll talk to her later on and we'll see where it goes. But I really think that, you know, we are on the verge of disclosure. You see, the governments know the answer. They don't have to keep it from us anymore. People aren't afraid of aliens anymore. Everybody's out there looking for them every night. You know, it's time to tell us the truth. Yeah. And the aliens are frustrated that the governments are still refusing to tell us.
Wow.
And that they're now saying, if you're not going to tell your population, we're going to tell them. That's another possibility.
Wow. Well, I'm going to try the dream thing tonight but I've tried. I haven't gotten an answer. So is there a formula to it or you just have to practice?
I think you need a specific question. I think you need to write the question down. It's no good not writing it down because when I have it in my head, I don't get anything. It
Mm.
actually has to be on the paper. I don't know why. Why
Okay.
can't I think it and then write it down? It doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work, but it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I always write it down.
Wait, I want to fly to UK one day and then see the orb with you.
Yeah. We go to some places where we know we can get good pictures of them too.
So we're still left with the questions, are we alone, and what is in the future for us? Like, are they gonna come down and talk to me? If not, what's the point, right? I think that's how a lot of people are treating it. Like, I totally believe in UFOs, but it's like, if I'm not able to summon the aliens, are they gonna come and give me some money or heal me, or we're gonna have some deep conversation? Like, what's the point, right? I think there is more to life than this 3D reality. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you liked it, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment down of what your belief is and any crazy experiences that you guys might have. Have you seen something? Have you guys seen something where there's some dreams that you had that came true? Make sure to share this video with your friends and have a conversation with them about the otherworldly side. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys in my next video.